Lila walks down the crowded school hallway. Hundreds of voices, none calling her name. Her footsteps echo louder than her presence. She sketches quietly in her mind, dreaming of color in a world that barely notices her gray. At home, her father barely looks up from his phone. At school, her drawings remain crumpled in the corner of her bag. But deep down, she believes that if someone truly saw her art, maybe they'd finally see her. Then one afternoon, a cry pierces through the drizzle outside, a small puppy trapped under a fence. Without thinking, Lila rushes toward it. And that one small act, unseen by her, is about to make her visible to everyone. The next morning, Lila's video floods every phone in school. Her act of kindness has gone viral. The girl no one noticed is suddenly the center of attention. Whispers trail her through the hallways. That's her. She's the puppy girl. For the first time, eyes follow her, smiles greet her, and lockers open for her to pass. But beneath her fluttering heartbeat lies a quiet question. Do they see me? Or just the video? By lunchtime, her table, once empty, is full. Nora sits beside her now, laughing loudly, arm around her shoulder for pictures. Lila's cheeks glow red with happiness. But something about the laughter feels offbeat. She forces a smile, not wanting the moment to end, even if it feels borrowed. Across the room, Marcus sketches quietly, eyes lingering not on her fame, but her unease. That evening, Lila scrolls through comments, hundreds of strangers praising her, calling her an angel. Her heart races. For the first time, she feels seen. Yet, as she scrolls further, she stumbles on one cruel comment. Bet she staged it for likes. It stings sharper than she expects. She turns off her screen, silence flooding her room. Outside, the world still talks. But inside, she begins to wonder if being seen means being judged. The next morning, Mrs. Parker praises her during art class. The world finally saw what I already knew, she says warmly. But as Lila looks at her own painting, the puppy, the rain, the girl in yellow, she feels something missing. The colors are beautiful, but they don't feel true. Fame has painted her life in brighter tones, but her soul whispers for quiet. Little does she know, the price of being seen has only begun to show. By the weekend, Lila's face fills every corner of the internet. Local news calls her the girl with the golden heart. Strangers flood her inbox with praise, and even brands want to feature her kindness story. Lila feels a rush of belonging she's never known. But the air feels thinner now, every breath touched by expectation. For the first time, she wonders, is this who I am, or who they want me to be? At school, everyone knows her name now. Teachers beam with pride. Students rush to take selfies. Even Nora, once distant, clings to her side like fame's shadow. You're glowing, Lila, she says, looping her arm through hers. Lila laughs, a sound unsure of itself. The attention feels sweet but heavy, like sunlight too close to the skin. Somewhere behind the applause, she hears the faint echo of her old quiet world calling her back. Later that day, Lila sits in the art room with Marcus. It's strange, she murmurs. I wanted to be seen, and now I feel like I'm disappearing inside everyone's version of me. Marcus sketches quietly before looking up. Maybe being seen isn't about being watched, he says softly. It's about being understood. His words land like a brushstroke of calm on her restless heart. For a fleeting moment, she feels real again. That night, Nora drags Lila to a cafe, introducing her to a group of loud older teens who know her from the video. They cheer, record her stories, and post clips with captions like, "The famous girl from the rescue." Lila laughs, but her voice trembles. Every smile she gives feels like another layer between who she is and who they expect her to be. When the lights dim, she glances out the window, catching her reflection in the glass, and wonders when she last recognized that face. When Lila gets home, her father looks up from his chair. "Saw you on TV," he says, smiling weakly. Your mom would have been proud. The words should comfort her. But something in his tone feels distant, like he's talking to a stranger wearing his daughter's face. Lila nods, retreating to her room. She scrolls again, thousands of comments waiting. Praise, jokes, mockery. She stares at the screen until her eyes sting, the glow blurring her reflection. And somewhere, in that blur, she starts to lose herself. Fame spreads faster than truth. A week later, someone uploads a slowed-down version of Lila's rescue, claiming she posed for the camera. The comments change overnight. Kindness becomes suspicion. Her inbox fills with questions she can't answer and messages she never asked for. At school, whispers follow her again, but this time they sound sharper. The same faces that once smiled now turn away. Lila walks faster, heartbeat echoing the rhythm of betrayal. In art class, silence greets her. Nora scrolls on her phone, avoiding her gaze. You didn't fake it, right? Nora asks lightly, not looking up. The question slices through Lila's chest like a whisper made of glass. You were there, Nora. She answers softly. You know I didn't. But Nora only shrugs, pretending to blend in with the others. For the first time, Lila realizes attention can turn friends into mirrors that reflect nothing back. That night, the comments grow crueler. Attention seeker, fake hero. Each word burns deeper. Lila types a long post explaining what really happened, then deletes it before posting. What's the point? No one's really listening, they're just watching. She sits by her window, tears mixing with rain. For a moment, she presses her sketchbook against her chest, whispering, "Please, just see me." But the world outside only echoes her silence. At school, the tension breaks. Someone prints a meme of her, faking the rescue, and tapes it to her locker. Nora pretends to defend her but doesn't stop the laughter. Lila rips the paper down, voice trembling. Why are you doing this? Nora meets her eyes, guilt flashing for a second before pride masks it. It's just a joke, Lila. Don't be so dramatic. But in Lila's chest, something cracks. Not her confidence, but her trust. That evening, Lila walks to the old pier, the same spot her mother once painted sunsets. The wind howls softly, tugging at her hair. She stares at the sea, the horizon blurring between water and sky. For the first time, she wishes to vanish completely, not from life, but from the noise. Then, faint footsteps approach. Marcus stands beside her, holding an umbrella. You don't have to disappear to be free, he says quietly. And somehow she believes him. It is so. It remains works. Rumors spread faster than she can breathe. Someone leaks a fake message thread claiming Lila admitted to staging the rescue. Screenshots flood the internet overnight. Lila wakes up to hundreds of angry comments, her name trending again. But this time, for all the wrong reasons. Her hands shake as she scrolls, her reflection in the screen pale and broken. The fame she once chased now stares back like a monster she accidentally fed. At school, no one meets her eyes anymore. Even the teachers look uncomfortable. Nora avoids her completely, whispering behind her back. In the hallway, a voice yells, "Hey, fake girl!" followed by laughter. Lila's throat tightens, but she keeps walking, because crying would only make the world laugh louder. Each step echoes louder than the last, her silence now her only shield. During art class, Mrs. Parker pulls Lila aside. You don't owe the world explanations, sweetheart, she says gently. You owe yourself peace. Lila blinks back tears. But I don't even know who I am anymore. Mrs. Parker smiles sadly. Then start painting until you remember. Those words plant something small inside her. A seed of strength buried under pain. That night, desperate to prove herself, Lila goes live on social media. Her hands tremble as she explains everything. The puppy, the video, the lies. But halfway through, hateful comments flood in. You're acting again. Cry harder. Her voice breaks. She ends the stream, staring at her reflection in the black screen. For a moment, she doesn't recognize the girl looking back. The one who wanted to be seen is now completely lost inside the spotlight's glare. The next day, Lila doesn't go to school. She wanders through the beach near her home, waves crashing against the shore. She feels small, smaller than the sea, smaller than a rumor. Sitting in the sand, she opens her sketchbook and begins to draw the ocean. The wind, the quiet. Each stroke feels like breathing again. For the first time in weeks, she smiles. Not for the camera, but for herself. Days pass. The world moves on. The noise that once filled Lila's life fades into quiet. Her name stops trending. Her messages slow to nothing. At first, the silence feels unbearable, like being erased all over again. But slowly, the quiet begins to heal. She starts to hear the sound of her pencil again, the wind outside her window, her own heartbeat steady and calm. The fame that once defined her now feels like a distant dream, or maybe a lesson. At school, no one whispers anymore. People have moved on to a new story, a new scandal. Lila walks quietly through the hallways, unnoticed again, but this time she doesn't mind. She passes Nora by the lockers. Their eyes meet for a fleeting second. Nora looks down, regret flickering in her face. Lila simply nods and keeps walking. Some closures don't need words. They just need peace. Lila spends afternoons with Marcus again. They paint by the beach, side by side in silence. You don't talk much, he teases. She smiles faintly. Maybe I finally learned the world doesn't need to hear everything to understand it. Marcus nods, sketching waves. The two sit there for hours, not chasing attention, not needing applause, just letting their art speak for them. At home, her father knocks on her door, something he hasn't done in months. Dinner's ready, he says gently, then pauses. I'm proud of how strong you've been. Lila smiles, setting her pencil down. Thanks, Dad. The two share a quiet meal. Not much talking, but everything understood. Sometimes love doesn't arrive in grand gestures. Sometimes it's just two people finally looking up at the same moment. That night, Lila sits at her window again, sketchbook open to a fresh page. She doesn't draw the puppy or herself or the sea. She draws light. Soft, scattered light spilling from nowhere in particular. She closes her eyes, smiling faintly. For the first time, she's not waiting to be seen. She already knows who she is. The world may forget her name, but she has remembered her truth, and that's enough. Weeks later, Lila's art teacher announces an upcoming exhibition. Voices of the Unheard. Mrs. Parker encourages her to submit something. Use your silence, she says. It speaks louder than fame ever could. That night, Lila flips through her old sketches, drawings from before the noise, before the world's opinions. Each one reminds her that art isn't about being seen. It's about being felt. She decides to paint her truth. Raw, quiet, and real. Lila paints for days, sometimes through the night. Every stroke carries a memory. The rain, the puppy, the laughter, the pain. She doesn't paint to explain or prove. She paints to remember. The canvas slowly fills with pieces of her story. A girl in yellow standing in the rain, light breaking through clouds. Each brushstroke whispers forgiveness, and for the first time, her reflection in the paint feels like home. Marcus visits while she paints. You're glowing again, he says quietly. Lila laughs softly. Not glowing, she replies. Just real. He watches her work, admiring how her pain has turned into color. You know, he says, visibility isn't bad. It's just heavier when it's empty. She pauses, thinking, then smiles. Maybe I had to break to see what really matters. The room fills with stillness, two souls who understand the language of unspoken healing. A week later, Lila visits her mother's old art gallery downtown. The walls still smell faintly of oil paint and sea breeze. Standing there, she feels her mother's presence, quiet, patient, proud. She places her painting against the wall and whispers, "I get it now, Mom. You didn't paint for them. You painted for you." The words bring tears, but they're gentle ones, the kind that cleanse instead of break. On the night before the exhibition, Lila can't sleep. She looks at her painting resting against the wall, moonlight brushing its surface. It's not perfect, but it's hers. She whispers to herself, "Tomorrow I'll be seen again. But this time, on my own terms." She closes her eyes with a calm heart. The girl who once begged for attention now rests knowing that self-worth shines brighter than any spotlight ever could. The day of the exhibition arrives. Lila stands outside the community art hall, her heart steady but light. For the first time, she's not nervous about who will come or what they'll say. She's proud just to show up. As people step inside, laughter and chatter fill the air. Lila takes a slow breath, clutching her sketchbook. This time, it isn't about being noticed. She thinks it's about being honest. Inside, her painting hangs among dozens of others, stories of struggle, love, and growth. People stop to look at hers, whispering softly. She watches them, not with fear this time, but curiosity. A little girl tugs her mother's sleeve. "Mom, look." She's smiling in the rain. The mother nods. Maybe she's not afraid of it anymore. Lila's throat tightens, her eyes glistening. She finally understands. Her story has become something more than herself. Marcus appears beside her, holding 2 paper cups of lemonade. "You did it," he says. "No," Lila answers, smiling. "I found it." They stand side by side, quietly watching the visitors move through the gallery. He looks at her, proud but silent. The air between them hums with warmth, the kind that doesn't need words. For the first time, Lila feels both seen and safe, her heart steady like the sea beyond the windows. As the exhibition ends, Mrs. Parker hugs Lila tightly. "I told you," she whispers. "Your silence has a voice." Lila laughs softly through tears. "Thank you for hearing it." Outside, the sky burns in soft orange hues, and the ocean hums in rhythm with her heartbeat. She looks toward the horizon and smiles. She doesn't need cameras, followers, or applause. The light she once searched for now lives quietly within her. That night, Lila walks home by the sea. The moon paints a silver path across the water. She stops, closes her eyes, and lets the wind brush her face. "I wanted to be seen," she whispers to the waves, "but I didn't know I already was." The tide rolls in softly, washing away the footprints behind her. The camera lingers as she walks forward, small, steady, and finally free. Because true light doesn't seek attention, it simply shines.